and I have the best Christmas gift for you. Just hold on. Ferg's gonna get you the best view just now. There she is. And just as we were coming through, the little cub was poking its head up. If you can see where she's twitching her tail, just to the left of her tail. We're going to wait and see if the little one will show itself to you. So we came, this is where she was laying. Going completely nuts, but we couldn't see her, so we decided to move away and just let it cool down just a little bit and just give her some time to come out to where the cub is. And she's done that, and she is sitting so nicely for everybody, and I'm too excited right now. I'm loving the fact that Thandi has decided to have her den site so close to where we operate, because it really gives us a chance to showcase to you how amazing all of this is. Now, the way she's moving her tail means to me that she's hot, and she's slightly annoyed, but she's not annoyed with us. She's annoyed at the heat. We came in from the other direction, and she just looked at us a little bit. There was no hissing, there was no baring of the lip. If there was, that would mean that she needs a little bit more space. It's very humid right now. It's probably raining somewhere close to us, and it might start raining here maybe tonight. I don't think within the next sort of 5 hours or so, but in the middle of the night. And so that's very difficult for her because she's covered in fur. So earlier we were talking about how elephants can lose about 82% of their body heat through their ears. She needs to pant, and you can see she's panting quite heavily there. Now, I have a feeling the cub's gone back in, beautiful stretch. The cub's gone back into the little hidey hole that's just behind her, just as we came in. It's still getting used to us, but you all have seen it before. I'm counting the little top of the head and the little ears that we saw as we came in, and then I think it just needs a moment or two and we'll pop back out. Now, my Christmas wish list was to be able to see the little cub, and then now my Christmas wish list for all of you is to maybe see them nursing. That's what I would like to see. So we're not gonna move from here unless we absolutely have to. We're going to give it as much time as we can possibly allow. It's also good for us to sit and talk quietly, like what we're doing right now, because it will get the cub used to the vehicles and used to knowing that we're part of its natural environment and that we're not here to upset it in any way. And also, Mum's reaction to us is important for the cub's reaction as well. So she is so relaxed. So that little one will also be quite a relaxed cat. This is too exciting. Scarlett, you're curious to know how many cubs Thandi has had in her lifetime. Now, I don't know Thandi that well. This is only the third time that I've seen her. So Tristan is our resident leopard man, and he is away on Christmas holiday. But I do know there are a lot of viewers who have watched for a decade of Wild Earth and Safari Live. So I'm going to throw that question back to you all and see if there's someone that's watching that has that answer. I do know that Shadow and Thandi have not been as lucky with the survival of their cubs as much as Karula was, but I'll be interested to hear what you all have to say. And then when Tris if no one that's watching knows, when Tris gets back from leave, I'll give him a shout and ask. And then Nix, if you're listening, also maybe Scotty D would know how many cubs Thandi has had in her lifetime. So we'll ask those guys. When you come and you of the leopards, and I've been working through it slowly but surely. Thandi, I'm still working on, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I would guesstimate that she's probably had at least 4 litters, if not more. Yeah. And Tombo's still doing well over there in Little Gowrie, where it seems everybody likes to be. Now, something that the African bush has taught me, I'm not a very patient person, but the bush has taught me patience. And for instance, when we were watching those elephants just now, we know what they're going to do. We just have to be patient, it will happen. But with this, knowing this little cub is right here, and knowing that it could pop its head out at any moment, my patience is bordering on, oh my goodness, just come out already. But it'll come, it'll happen. We just got to send out the good positive vibes and wait. I want you to notice her belly. It's not thin, but I want you to notice how quickly it's gone down from the size we saw yesterday. She's processing that food very, very quickly because of the milk she's producing. Brenda, you and I are sharing a brain. So Brenda, I've got Faith directing, and she's up in the Mara, and we've got a 13-second delay. So just as I'm talking about Thandi's belly, obviously just before that, your question came through, which is absolutely fantastic. So Brenda, she ate yesterday, and she ate a little bit this morning, and she ate a couple days before that as well. So I think just the way that she's lying down, because some of her skin is sagging there around her elbow, is making her look more thin than she is. But if you actually see the side of her belly there, she does still have quite a bit of meat that's in there. If Thandi was very thin, Brenda, you would see a lot more around the back end, around the sort of pelvic area, the hip bones jutting out. Very similar to if you have a domesticated dog or a domesticated cat that is malnourished. That's usually where you see it along the rib cage. So she's looking nice and sleek and happy and healthy. And then the comment I was just making earlier about her belly having gone down very quickly has a lot to do with how much she has to process, especially energy-wise, because of the fact that she's nursing. So she's got to protect the cub. Obviously her adrenaline's up a little bit higher because she's got this little one around, and then she needs to be hunting quite a bit. But lucky for her, she's busy nursing during a time when there's a lot of baby impala and baby wildebeest and baby warthogs, which are highly nutritious and much easier to catch. And yesterday what she was eating was, and this morning was a baby impala. Ferg and I found her yesterday afternoon, and then she ate some of it and then pulled it up into a marula tree. And then Scotty D went back there this morning, and she was eating a little bit of it, and then she brought the head and part of the body back this way, from what I heard from Scotty D this morning. And then he was lucky and got to see the little cub poking its little head out from inside of this tree. And she hasn't moved it too far from the original den site. It's less than 100 meters, so less than 100 yards away. But it's just enough so that the smell is not as potent as where it would have been before. Joe, you're curious to know if we just heard the cub calling. No, Joe, there's been no communication between the cub and her. The cub sound, I'm going to give you a little lion sound, which is very similar. It's got a slightly different pitch for leopard, but it's a and it's very tiny. And then her call is going to be more of a, I'm sorry, I'm so much better at the lions, sort of raspy oof. But not as liony as that. It's going to be a little bit more saw-like. Not the huh, huh, huh when they're alarm calling, but more similar to that than the oof, oof. Oh, what's coming at the back there? There's Nyala that are coming through the back. It's going to be, she's watching it now. There, see that Nyala? That Nyala has no idea that she's here. No clue. Scarlet, you're curious to know why leopards have loose skin. Scarlet, leopards and lions, all of your predators have loose skin. It gets more loose the older they get. It's just the way that she's lying down right now. It's pulling off. It's similar to us humans, where the older we get, the more gravity takes place, and then the more cubs she has, especially around her nursing area, her uterine area on the outside, it'll start getting a little bit loose. This is an amazing shot, everybody. You can see that Nyala perfectly, as well as Thandi. That Nyala, the wind is blowing in such a way that Nyala has not seen this leopard. If it had seen this leopard, it would start alarm calling. So that Nyala is just moving around. Now, interestingly enough, Thandi doesn't have enough space. Look at that. Thandi doesn't have enough space to start hunting at the moment, so she's just lying really still for two reasons. One, it might just be too hot for her to want to move right. Going to bide her time and wait and sort of see what happens. But she's definitely interested. You've got the ears that are perked forward, and then the tail is curled a little bit in anticipation. So we'll have to wait and see. And I've seen at least 3 Nyala, so I'm guessing there's anywhere between sort of 3 and 6. There's a nice little herd here. You can see another one coming through the back. Now, these Nyala will be followed by oxpeckers most likely, and if the oxpeckers see this leopard, the oxpeckers will start alarm calling, which will then put the Nyala quite alert. See that? Has no idea. So something I want to point out from this interaction is that a lot of people assume when there's prey species around that there can't be a predator. Where those Nyala are walking from where Thandi is about 20 to 30 meters, so 20 to 30 yards. It's not far. It is very, very close. Wind direction has to be right, and they also have to be able to see the predator, either see or smell. If Thandi were to start vocalizing for terror, fully unaware that she's here. The prey species cannot always know that a predator's around, because then a predator would never eat, and then the predators would never survive, and vice versa. The predators can't always be able to get to the prey species, or else the prey species wouldn't survive. There has to be a balance. And this beautiful wind that's happening now and her camouflage coat are giving the balance a little bit more towards her. But where the Nyala have moved is a slightly open spot, so if she were to move now, they would definitely catch her movement out of the corner of her eye, of their eye. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And then there's also the hazard if she does decide to take one of these Nyala. I mean, these Nyala are quite big. I'm not seeing any tiny babies. So where she would have to put the kill would be very close to the den. So then that can sometimes cause issues for her small one. So I was actually talking to Ferg about it when we were coming through. I was saying to Ferg, sometimes with cubs this age and starting to get a little bit older, when you come to den sites, you have to look up in the trees, because sometimes another predator or something's come around and they need to get up higher. Karin, thank you so much. You're saying that Thandi this is her 5th litter. So I think I said 3 or 4, so I wasn't too far off. So Karin, thank you so much. 5th litter. Now, Karin, my other question for you is, besides Tumba, how many of her youngsters have survived, if you know, off the top of your head? Still waiting for this little cub to pop its head out. But now if Mum, there, she's beautiful, beautiful little shot there. She's just checking on us to see where we are in relation. Yeah, definitely. If at any point I think that she's going to start actively hunting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to everyone, if she starts hunting, as she starts doing it, I'm going to say to everyone, all right, let's just be quiet for a bit and watch, because I don't want to do anything that will disrupt. It is very quiet and peaceful where we are right now. So any large movements from us on the vehicle for now, I don't think she's going to do much. I think if she does do anything, she's going to wait for them just to move a little bit, and then she'll get off the tree, and then we'll see. Toma, you're wondering, can she really take down a Nyala? Isn't it too big? No, she'll be fine. Female Nyala will be fine for her, no problem at all. Thandi can kill a large male impala on her own. That's not an issue. something like, it also depends, Toma, it also depends on what she specializes in. So the kills that I've personally seen Thandi on, and remember this is only my third time seeing her, have all been impala, and then the ones that I've heard about from other people have been impala. So that's one of her specialties. Now, I think that this is going to take some time if she decides to do anything. So I think let's head back up to the Masai Mara and let's check in with Taylor and see what she's up to. And trust me, if anything starts happening this side, you'll come back to us. So let's go have a look up to another special ecosystem while we wait and watch. Scotty D, how epic is that scrub hair of yours? We are still with Thandi, of course. There she is. You can see her on your screens. She's been moved ever so slightly. We haven't quite seen the cub yet, and we are eagerly awaiting the arrival. So just where Ferg is putting his camera now, in that little hole, that's where we believe it to be. Just inside there, that's where Scott got his really nice photo from this morning. Now, when Thandi moved, that whole tree is hollowed out. So, I mean, obviously that cub can go sort of pretty much anywhere inside of there. And when she moved just now, she was making little noises to the cub. So I have a feeling what's going to happen soon is she's going to have the cub come out. They'll interact a little bit, and then she'll probably meander off. Now, by soon, in South Africa, we say just now or now, which could mean 3 seconds from now. It could mean an hour from now. So we just kind of have to wait and be patient and see what happens. And then I just want to say Merry Christmas to my family who's watching the show. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. They finally figured out how to do the live YouTube. So thanks, Mom. Thanks, John. And they've been very lucky. They've come out to visit me quite a few times, and we've seen some leopards during their stay, which has always been good. Now, what I want Thandi to get up from where she is, turn around, walk over towards the hole, put her face down, and then call out that little cub. I know my Christmas wish list just keeps getting more and more precise, but it could happen. Sorry, I just thought I heard something. Hold on. No, I'm just getting overly excited. Now, there's always a lot of question as to why is the tip of the tail of the leopard so white like that. Now, something you'll notice if this little cub comes out and obliges us, is that white and the tail movement transfixes them. And sometimes when the mum walks away, it's a way for them to follow. But then also in scenarios like this, she had the tail close to the hole earlier and was flicking it around. And it wouldn't surprise me if the cub was inside watching that tail move around. Adrian, you're curious to know who gets to name the cub. So Adrian, and if you guys can name the cub, Adrian, in other properties that I've worked on, the cubs of lion and leopard, well, leopard in general, are named by the guide who finds them. So James found the first den site, and Tristan, what we thought was the first den site, and Tristan double confirmed it. So I have a feeling between the two of them, there might be a name. However, the Djuma guides might also want to have a go at it. So I'm not quite sure if it'll be you all, or if it'll be James and Tristan, or if it'll be the Djuma guides, or maybe it'll be a combination of everybody. We'll have to wait and see. And then also personalities. You can't name them when they're too little. You have to wait. Normally you wait for about 2 years. I know here we do it about a year. Myrna, you're curious to know what the sex of the cub is. Myrna, I actually have not seen this cub yet, except for very briefly, just as we got here, just a little tip of the head. I know Tristan thinks that it's a girl, so we will just have to wait and see. It is only about 2 months or just over 2 months, so sometimes it's hard to sex them at that age. Sometimes they need to be just a titch older. But Tristan is very good with leopards, so if he is thinking that it's a female, it probably is one. But we will have to wait and see. The way that you would tell is under the base of the tail towards the bum. Males get a little bit of a yellow coloration, and that's where their testicles sit. And then obviously as they get older, you can actually physically see the testicles, but when they're smaller, it's just that little bit of a yellow fur as opposed to white with the female. So that's a way to tell. But they also need to drop a little bit. It's very similar to if you have domesticated cats or dogs. It takes a while for their body parts to develop. Yes, she's very hot. You can see her panting. Her whole body is moving from that panting. But again, look how well she blends into that environment. Now, earlier when we came here, because we came here just sort of just before the start of our part of the show, because again, this is where she was left, we could hear Franklin alarm calling in a very thick bush area. And like I said earlier, we couldn't really see her, so we left, and then we just came back. We knew she was here. We just wanted to give her a little bit of time. But since we've been sitting here very quietly, there's been a couple more Franklins that have come past, and they're not making any noises with her. I reckon that they don't make too much noise around the den site, and Ferg reckons that they've just tired themselves out so much from alarm calling because she's here the whole time. But it's very interesting, just as a side note. Heather Lily, you're saying a girl can dream. You never know what you're going to get. Come out, little cubby. I'm agreeing with you, Heather Lily. But again, patience is a virtue. Nice, deep, calm breaths, good vibes. It'll happen. And it's remarkably cooler now. It's dropped a couple degrees. So it's also possible that just in the sort of half an hour that we were away from here watching our beautiful elephants, that the cub came out for a little bit and then it got hot and got tired and then just went inside again just as we got here, which is why we only got a little bit of a view. And then it's probably taking a little bit of a nap. A friend of mine rescued some puppies the other day, and they go through little moments where they're complete spazzes, and then they sleep for like an hour, and then they do it again, and then they sleep for another hour. So this cub's going to be very similar. It's going to have bursts of energy that are all manic and crazy, and then it'll need to rest. But you can see that Thandi's having difficulty finding a way that's comfortable to rest. Part of that has to do with the heat, and part of it has to do with the fact that she's starting to wake up. It's very similar to us. If you're taking a nap and then you start to wake up from your nap, you toss and you turn and you move around and you're not quite ready to get out of bed. It's very similar for her. She's not quite ready to move, but she's starting to get the itchy feet. Oh, I forgot to update you with the Niala. Just after we went back up to the Mara to say goodbye to Ralph and Taylor, the Niala moved off. Ferg actually saw one running off. There's no alarm calling, but I think they just kind of figured that something was up. And she let them go. She didn't go into any... So just as you're saying that, Scott, Thandi is getting up and moving around, but we're still focusing on the hole because we just want this. Listen. Sorry, hold on. She was calling just a little bit just now. Ferg and I are waiting with bated breath. We don't want to miss anything. Listen, listen, listen. She's calling it out. She's going to call it out again just now. She's going to call it out again, and it's going to come out of that little hole. It's really, the noises she's making are really, really soft. I don't want to talk too much right now. I just want to see what happens with the noises. Hopefully we pick them up. Because the calls are so quiet and so soft, our microphone is struggling a little bit to get it to you all. But it's a sort of, I'm so bad with the leopard calls. It's like a... soft, tiny little grunt with a high-pitched note to it. She's waking it up. She's saying, come out, so she can take care of it a little bit before she goes on. If it doesn't come out soon, then she'll make her noises a little bit louder and gruffer. I'm not sure if you guys can hear. It's just these tiny, tiny little coughs. There, she's got the little bit of meat that she brought from this morning. Remember, we had that kill yesterday afternoon when we found her? There's the head of the impala and the legs. And she's just moved a little bit behind the tree. It's interesting. I want to show you what she's doing, but I don't want to miss the cub either. So Ferg's making a really good choice here in where he's putting the camera. I can see her just on the underside of the tree, and she's chewing on the head just a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's one. Ferg, you've got such a good eye. So, and there she goes eating. She's telling it to come out and come eat with her. Monique, you're curious to know if she is denning here to teach the baby to climb. Monique, leopards have an inherent ability to be able to climb. She's denning here because this is a tiny little spot that it's hard for any other predator to get into, and it's the safest spot that she can think of to put her cub. That's why she's denning here. It's all about safety and camouflage. So just at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, there's Thandi's little head, eating what's left of that baby impala. And she's basically what she said is, she said, you know, come out, it's dinner time, come out. And that little cub is still hiding somewhere inside of here. But it'll come out. All of you, I mean, Nikki was just saying to me now in my earpiece, she's waiting with bated breath. I'm also waiting with bated breath. I'm sure all of you at home are waiting with bated breath. It'll happen. It'll definitely happen. Now, I just want to look with my binoculars quickly. I think I'm getting overexcited, but there might have been a little bit of movement. Tweety Kid, you and many others are saying that how nice it is just to hear the birds. I definitely agree. It is a peaceful little moment. And it is nice just to sit in the bush quietly for a bit. Wildflower, you were saying you didn't think they brought food to the den. Now, Wildflower, it's, you know, Tristan and Scott were talking about how they don't often do it because it can be dangerous because of the smell. But remember, the animals don't read the books. They do what works best for them. Just like human mothers, they do what works best for them and their little one. She's doing what works best for her. So she had quite a nice meal of this impala. This baby impala yesterday, and then she obviously needed to nurse. Yesterday afternoon we were noticing how it was quite wet under where her teats are, and so she decided to come back and then this morning she went back to the kill and fetched it. So basically what she's doing now is she's giving herself a little bit of a meal, but it also means that she can nurse her cub and then give her cub some meat without having to take her cub all the way to where the kill was, which is a bit far from here. So that's part of the reason here. And again, every scenario and every individual predator that you see has a different way in which they operate. We can give you a roundabout idea of how they function and why they function like that, but we also try and remind you guys as much as possible that things are variable and movable within their system. And she's just finding that this little impala, probably it's better to bring it here. It's not going to smell that much. It's not very big. And by the time it is going to have any bit of a ponk to it, she'll be finished. And maybe she's getting ready to move to another den site. You never know. Jersey Lady 2, right? You're saying that basically the only rule in nature is that there's no rules. I agree with you. I've seen very funny things happen. It's also how we learn, and I have friends that are researchers and do research, but a lot of what they do as well when they work on properties like this is they're collecting their own data, but then also sightings and experiences that we have get collected into their data as well. Obviously, they can't be everywhere at once. So let's say, for instance, we did have a leopard researcher here with us on Djuma. We don't at the moment, but let's just say that we did. Something like this would be noted down. I would say the age, the sex of what the kill was, the movements, and then they would note that down and who saw it and when, and that goes into it. I mean, for a long time, we thought that lions only hunted and hyenas, spotted hyenas, only scavenged, and we know that to be a falsehood. We know that lions scavenge just as much as they hunt, and hyenas hunt just as much as they scavenge. It just depends on the scenarios that they're in. Now, what I'm finding very interesting is she called out this cub quite a few times, then jumped down and picked up this meat, and this cub is still taking its nap. I'm determined to show this cub to you all. Guide Monkey, you're saying that Thandi, or there's a question mark at the end of this, so let's see if I can do my inflection properly. Basically, you're saying that Thandi would show some reaction if the cub was in danger. So let's say there was another predator coming around here. Yes, if Thandi could sense, smell, hear, or see those senses that predator was around, she would have a reaction. Or if she didn't want us to be here, she would have a reaction. But we've been here for quite a while now. She has not once showed us anything but the fact that she's relaxed. So obviously the cub's not in danger. Let's say another leopard were to rock up on the scene. You would definitely get a reaction out of her, that's for sure. Or if I were to drive too close to the den. I'm sitting comfortably close, but everything that we did when we came around and how we moved and how we spoke, she barely batted an eyelid. So she's very happy with the space that we've given her. So yeah, she would definitely do something if if she felt that the cub was in danger. Sparlina, that's a really interesting question. You're asking, do leopard mums move their cubs as a matter of course or when they feel the need? It's both, actually. And it also has to do with any pressure from predators or anything like that, any outside pressure. So usually they would move within... sorry, I just saw some movement, but it's her tail. I'm too excited. They would move sort of 2 to 3 dens within the first 3 to 4 months. If they move more than that, it means that they've had a lot of pressure from outside pressure and need to carry on. So they'll have their first den site for a few weeks, and then their second den site for a little bit longer than that, and then their third den site until then the cub sort of moves with mom, and then they stash it in other places as they carry around their territory. Because right now she's only utilizing her very core territory. The only reason for her to want to go outside of that would be food, the need to find food, but she can't just be in her core territory all the time. She does need to also actively demarcate and defend her outer territory and then into her home range as well. And also remember, I mean, you guys had that brilliant sighting with Shadow and Thandi and Shadow's youngster. So there's definitely a void and a variable boundary that's happening with territories now. So she needs to make sure that she keeps up with that. All right, now while we're still waiting for this cute little cub to come out, let's head back to Scott and see what he's up to. And I promise you, the moment this cub shows itself, you all will see it. So we came around just to see what the view was like this side. And it's true, you can see Thandi much better from here as she chews on the head of that baby impala. But obviously Ferg and I are sitting here going, oh my goodness, so what if she goes back? So we just have to believe that this is the right call and that things will happen from here. And again, just be patient. So now I'm going to stop talking and just see if you can hear her chewing. Can we hear that? Again, I think it's just a little bit too far. Slight crunching noise is happening there. Let's see, we'll try again. Of course she stops. It's always the way. Now it's interesting to me that she, it's very slight crunching noises, hey? It's very interesting to me that she called, the cub did nothing, and then she's devouring, she hasn't, oh, no. Okay. Ferg, I'm making the call, we're going back the other, yeah, we're gonna go back to the other side. I think she wants to nurse. Guys, you just gotta bear with us. Because of the way that the den site is, it's super tricky because there's only so many places we can put our car and also get a view and also keep the cub safety in there. So we're gonna do the best we can. I just need you all just to be patient. I'm just gonna be quiet for a minute. I'm going to see how this works for Thandi and for us. Oh, I saw the cub. I saw the cub. Shh, shh. There, it's there, Ferg. It's in the little thing. Okay, it's just poking its little head out. I can see its little ears. Can you see the little ears, everybody? There it is. There it is. Now, everybody, the youngest cub that I've ever seen is 3 months. I have not seen a cub that's younger, and this cub is younger. So I might take 1 or 2 photos, so you have to excuse me when it comes out, if that happens, just so I can keep... Oh my goodness, everybody, look! Look. How special. Oh my goodness. Everyone, welcome to a special live broadcast from Sabi Sands in South Africa on Djuma with Thandi and her tiny little baby leopard cub who's moving inside that little hole there. It is about 2 months, just over 2 months. It's the cutest little leopard cub ever, bordering on 3 months, and it's just sticking its head out. Mom was busy finishing off what was left of an impala kill, and this little one's trying to decide if it's going to come out and what is it going to do, and it's absolutely fantastic, and it's just been peeking at us from the sides. As you can see, Mom is super relaxed, and the little one's just deciding what is it going to do. Is it going to come? It keeps peeking its head out, just having a look, and then going back in, and then having a look and going back in while Mom cleans. So we just have to be patient. We've been sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally this little cub has woken up. It's a lot cooler now, and so the movements are much easier for mother and for cub. Oh, this is just too exciting. Robin, you're saying hi from Utah. Hello, Robin, and happy holidays. Our special holiday gift to everybody is this really incredible sighting. Scott had such a magical moment this morning, but we are now having our own magical moment with this little one. Now, when she's done grooming herself, she'll probably start calling the little one out again. I can't see it from, there it is. There we go. Look how lightly colored the eyes are. Tiny. Listen. You can see its mouth moving a little bit there. Going row, row. Everyone, this is a really, really special sighting. I can't even begin to explain to you how exciting this is. Joshua, you are curious to know if we know the gender of the cub yet. We don't know. It's still a little bit young. Tristan, who works with me, says he thinks it might be a female. We're just going to have to wait and see. If it comes out and shows itself, I will show you how to tell the difference. Hello, Pippa Moolman from Cormacky. Happy holidays. I hope you're doing well and enjoying this really amazing sighting of this tiny little baby leopard. Now, there's a lot of flies around the whole of the den site here. And then you can just see the little one moving again. She or he is definitely going to come out. Remember, everyone, we are live. We are filming live, coming live to you from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, from Djuma. So whatever platform you're watching this amazing action broadcast on, you can send questions or comments through, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can. There's just the little ear poking out. Look. Mr. Canada, it's a hole in a log. Oh my goodness, look, and we're going to play with Mum. How exciting. Absolutely amazing. Let's just take a few moments to appreciate how incredible this is. Liz, you're curious to know how we found the cub inside the tree. So Liz, yesterday afternoon, myself and Ferg, who's on camera with me, found Thandi with an impala kill. And then this morning, Scotty D, who works with us on another vehicle, went back to where Thandi was on the kill, found her, and then followed her to here. And this is what he found. So she moved this little one from her other den site, which isn't far from here, and into this little hole. Everyone, if you take your two adult hands together, this little leopard cub fits inside your two adult hands, nestled inside those little hands there. Debbie, you're curious to know if there's only one cub. Debbie, there is indeed only one cub. It's possible that when she gave birth, she had more. We've only ever seen the one. When she gives birth, she's very secretive when she gives birth. And things like rain or other leopards or lion or mongoose can play a factor in whether those cubs survive. Usually leopards have sort of 2 to 3 cubs, and of those 2 to 3, 1 to 2 will survive. I am actually a bit overwhelmed at the moment with how special this is and how amazing the fact that Thandi is so comfortable with us to let us experience her teeny tiny baby leopard with her as it wakes up from its nap and starts to move around and play with mum. These are not pets, everybody. These are wild animals. This is so special. Colleen, really good comment. You're saying for a tiny little cub, it's got pretty big paws. It'll grow into those paws, Colleen, that's for sure. Sometimes, especially when they're a little bit older than this, going more to 4, 5, 6 months, you can start to see not just from the genitalia, but from the size of the paws, if it's a male or female, because the males will tend to have larger paws. Izzy, you're saying, this is amazing, this is so cute. Thanks, Santa, best present ever. This really is unbelievable. I am running out of words to use to just explain. She's calling it a little bit. Let's just be quiet. She made tiny little grunting noises, and then the cubs come a little bit closer. And then the cubs making tiny little noises back to mum. It just made little squealing noises. Mariana, you're asking where the father is. Mariana, female leopards are territorial, and then they'll fit inside a male's territory, but they don't co-parent, right? The female mates with the male, and then she beats him up a little bit. He beats her up a little bit back because it hurts. The male's penis is barbed, so it's a very difficult scenario for them. And then she goes away and has her little one, and she basically raises the little one on her own. I used to work with a leopard researcher that found that after the male cubs were 2 years old and they get kicked away from the mum, that sometimes the dads will take over for a little bit, but it depends on the population densities. We have a very high population density of leopard here, so we will start seeing Thandi with the father of this cub, which we believe is Tingana. We will see them eventually possibly feeding off of kills together because of overlapping territories, but it's not a given, and he's not going to necessarily help raise this little cub. That's all on her. Michelle, this little cub is about just over 2 months, just under 3. So let's say 5 to 6 weeks, right around in there. Katie Riga, you're curious to know what the leopard cub's name, or the mum's name is. This is Thandi. So Thandi is one of the dominant female leopards on Djuma in the Sabi Sands in South Africa, where we film from. So we're a very special organization, Safari Live, and we do this twice a day, and you can watch us on multiple platforms, but on YouTube, you can follow us on Twitter, and we do these special action broadcasts as well. And Thandi is one of the females that is close enough for us to get a view on and to follow around. So she's famous for us here at Djuma, and she's famous for the Safari Live family. But all leopards have names, no matter what property you go to and where you are. We also film out of the Masai Mara in Kenya, and there'll be other leopards up there with other names that are sort of famous in that area as well. And again, for anyone that's new and watching with us, we are live. You can send through those questions and comments as you've heard. And remember, these are wild animals. I'm not sitting in a zoo. I'm not sitting with a tame, habituated animal. I'm sitting with wild animals who just understand that we are part of their natural environment and allow us to view them. Now, sometimes you can come to Africa and view them by being on a game drive vehicle as a guest at a lodge. Or right now, you're lucky enough to do this from this amazing virtual platform where it's me driving the vehicle and Ferg's on camera at the back. All right. right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being with us for this very special action broadcast. I hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to follow us on Safari Live. You can go Google it now or go onto the YouTube and go in Safari Live. Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, everyone, thank you so much for sticking with Ferg and I and being patient. This has been so incredible. I am so excited to be able to share this with all of you. I am just over the moon. I really, really, truly have run out of words. I even teared up a little bit. I know I'm such a girl, but this is special. This is beyond something that you could ever expect at any given time. And it truly, I mean, I've been guiding, I'm going into my 11th year now. And this is definitely a memorable moment.